On the phone now is Comelec spokesman Jimenez. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Well, first on the reaction, your reaction on the Supreme Court ruling on ang LADLAD. Do you think that this is a blow to the Comelec?
Well, I think it's one of those things that happen. The Comelec makes a decision. The Supreme Court thinks that we erred, and I think that's it. That's the end of it. The Comelec is empowered to make such decisions, and certainly if the Supreme Court believes that we should have ruled differently, then I mean, like I said, that's all there is to it. So now the issue really is that ang LADLAD has to catch up on the campaigning, I suppose. The good thing is that they are on the ballot already, so they will not be prejudiced in any way.
Mm-hmm. Well, what do you think this means for other parties that have been disqualified?
To be very blunt about it, Twink, it means nothing, because each case will have to be decided by the Supreme Court on its merits. Mm-hmm. Certainly, the grounds for denying ang LADLAD accreditation are drastically different from the grounds that were used in other cases.
Okay.
So each case will have to be won on its own merit.
Mm-hmm. But this Supreme Court ruling would seem to be like just the latest in a series of decisions that reversed the Comelec. Is that troubling?
Well, I suppose so. Of course, no one wants to be on the business end of a losing streak. But as far as we're concerned, as long as we go through the proper processes of arriving at these decisions, then we're good. We're okay with that. The Supreme Court makes its decision. We will abide by it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I suppose it's one thing to be sporting about it, but what sort of impact do you think it will have on the perceptions about the Comelec when it's frequently overruled as it is?
You know what? It's interesting because here in the Philippines, whenever the Supreme Court rules against someone, it's automatically characterized the following day as a slap in the face. It's like as if there were a personal affront to the agency that was reversed. Again, in the Comelec, we tend not to see it as a personal affront. When we do our work, I would like to think that we do our work with good consciences and with good faith, and whatever decisions we make, again, are arrived at in such a manner. Now, if the Supreme Court feels differently, again, well, that's the Supreme Court, and we will abide by whatever they say. Again, we do not see it as a personal affront.
Mm-hmm. So you don't think that the Supreme Court is, basically saying that the Comelec then, or has maybe not performed as competently as it should, making these errors?
Well, I don't think it's for me to make conclusions like that. Again, as far as we're concerned, as long as the case has been heard, the merits of it have been discussed, then whatever the Supreme Court says, that's what we will abide by.